What up? Yo, welcome back to another stream. I'm eating, so yeah. Told you guys I'll be live for this debate. Starts at 6, right? Chipotle. Can't make this shit up, bro. The Kamala Harris and fucking Trump debate is tonight, right?
Almost certainly.
I'm on YouTube.
So with the
I'm gonna go ahead and say this, bro. Is Kamala even qualified for this type of shit right here, bro? Like, what? This is crazy, man.
keeping an eye on everything.
Is there a different channel we should be watching it on, or what? NBC? I'm on NBC. Oh, I'm on ABC. Should I go to NBC?
We will be back with our post-game show as soon as it's over. We are going to toss it right now.
How long is the debate?
We'll be back with you. It's the top of the hour now, 9 o'clock on the East Coast here in New York and in Philadelphia, the room where it's about to happen. We're just seconds away now from tonight's first and perhaps last presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump.
As we've noted, this will be the first time these candidates have met in person, and it's happening on a...
Yeah, why is this nigga still wearing hair? I ought to just shave my shit.
So big us, man. Appreciate it, bro.
This nigga really went to work like that.
Before you know it,
just shave that shit
just
off.
got off work. What's good, chat?
What's up, bro? What's going on? Before you know it, Dale's gonna say that he needs to be on CRT also, bro.
Right here in its entirety.
Fuck it, everybody got to be on CRT. Fuck it.
Constitution Center in Philadelphia.
That shit does look like a mask.
June's debate, there will be no audience tonight. The candidates' microphones will be muted while the other one is talking. Each candidate will get 2 minutes for answers. There will be closing statements, but no opening statements. So we expect them to...
How long is the debate?
Rather early in this as they stake out their positions and we get a sense of where all this is going.
And the mics
The audience would have been fire, but...
talking. So let's take you to Philadelphia now and the first presidential debate of 2024.
This shit low-key determines everything.
For tonight's ABC News presidential debate, we want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Shit. Are they gonna shake hands?
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
You see, have fun.
Thank you.
It looked like Trump wasn't really gonna do
Welcome
it.
to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their #1 issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children.
Yeah, predictions are up.
I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
Clothes?
My
Car seat?
passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. About what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental
So glad he brought that up.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of
I made this
bringing us
motherfucker
together,
take
knowing
out the
we have
cam,
so
bro.
much more in common than what separates us.
I
And
really
pledge
made
to
this
you
dude
to
take
be a
out the
president
fucking
for all
cam, man.
Americans.
Holy
President
fucking
Trump will give you a
shit.
minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference.
Put it
I
at the
have
bottom
nothing to
left,
do.
this
Everybody knows I'm an
cornball ass
open book.
motherfucker,
Everybody
bro.
knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic, and the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed
good deal.
them
I got you,
over
bro.
a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. But not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you
Man,
respond.
this fool Trump is just sharp. How old is Trump? He like in his
Donald Trump
70s.
has no plan for you.
Hey, Trump, shut up for the sub.
And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not
79?
the world, have
Wow.
reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. That Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. Just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this.
Because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52
Wait, you could have
years
killed the
I've been trying
kid
to
9
get
months
Roe v.
into it?
Wade into the states. And through the of 6 Supreme Court justices.
So you could take, so a backshot baby is
now, I believe in the
in 9 months.
For rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe.
Sorry, man. Shut up for the 30 months of the platform, bro. Thank you.
85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. And now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby.
Yeah, backshot baby or not.
Madam Vice President,
9 months is crazy.
To President Trump.
Well,
Gotta be
We're
cap.
going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that.
I mean, how often does that shit happen,
A
though?
12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term? They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly
Yo,
sign it
2015, what the fuck do you mean by that, bro? I'm about to literally ban you, man.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your
Motherfucker mentioned some
pregnancies,
shit about
your
babies.
miscarriages. I think the American people believe.
I mean, you could just drive state line, depending on your state.
The freedom to make decisions about one's own
The
body
backshot baby could be in
should
cog.
not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again.
I mean, Project
It's a lie.
2025, isn't that like
I'm
an
not
internet
signing a
meme?
ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban. Because we
so
got
big us, man.
what everybody wanted.
Tobin B donated $3. Elon, house music.
She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe.
Yeah, you know that's cap. Student loans.
And then her, I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these studies got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And
The fact that we gotta listen to Dale give his dumbass fucking takes with this shit is crazy. It's the same motherfucker that be talking about Lil Wayne's appearance for 2 hours.
That they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a
And
guess,
gooning
because you're running me,
live on
JD
stream
Vance has
to
said
females'
you
asses and
would
shit.
if you did come to your death.
Well, I didn't discuss it with JD. In all fairness, JD, and I don't mind if he has a certain view.
As it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care.
I mean, you sit next to a stranger every time you hop on a plane. The fuck?
To do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans believe in a woman's
Bro,
right
she
to make
rehearsed this
decisions
shit
about
like
her body.
crazy. You can tell.
That is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people
And I
of
think Trump
America
is
have
just
voted for
freestyling
freedom.
this shit. That's the difference, honestly.
Excuse me, I have to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it.
Dude, I can't play music on this. People are not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Just wait till this shit's done.
You should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question, would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the governor, former governor of Virginia.
Yeah,
The
that's
governor
fucked up,
of Virginia
honestly.
Said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters.
So what do they do
across
with the
the
baby
board,
after
in
birth?
this
Slide it in a...
Vice President Harris, you
Like,
were
where
tasked
would
by
they put the
President
baby
Biden
after
getting
birth?
to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border
Like, where would the
crossings
backshot
reached a
baby go?
record high in the Biden administration. Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
I heard about that also.
He forgot to say the ducks.
The reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country
I heard
back.
about that shit.
They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country
This
doesn't
nigga
have a
said
chance
dogs
of
and
success.
cats.
Not only success,
He probably right, though. They
but
probably over there cooking up the
Venezuela
dogs and
on
cats.
steroids.
Well, where'd your
I just want
dog?
to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've
this,
seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television.
CT shut up for the 16 months.
And used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
but
television.
The people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying
manager.
their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest.
Their political opponent, and I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who is a value that I bring to my work, to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather.
I'm not asleep.
And my focus then...
Billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different
Jawbreaker89 donated $3. Shout into the mic. Talk over people. Name call. Blame. Fuck the issues. Dale and friends will suck my dick either way, Donald Trump.
She went out. She went out in Minnesota, that started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead, we'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of it. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of desert soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment,
to.
as she
We're out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by that. Then they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her
Ethan, big ups to my
saying
appreciate it, bro.
she is fully responsible for what
Ethan
happened.
Hike donated $5. NyQuil stream. Also, I don't want to see a Madam President Harris Kamel to love Canada, R plus Canada.
For security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the...
I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in
No,
2020?
I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
she on big ups, man.
you know that.
She and
And you
Madik
said, oh, we
donated
lost by a
$5.
whisker.
Someone
I said
quick.
sarcastically,
Shove some BBC
look,
meat in his mouth
there's
while
so
you
much
sleep.
proof. All you have to do is look at it, and they should have sent it back to the legislatures.
President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win...
Yeah, I think Dale's farming right now.
Donors, voters, election officials. He says we'll be
He's trying to farm clips by sleeping on the debate.
prison sentences. One of your campaign's
That's
top
the reason why
lawyers
he's doing
responded
this
saying,
shit.
We won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by
You better
81
thank a
million people.
union member.
So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election.
Damn, my shit is dropping frames. What the fuck?
I have
Lurker,
traveled
big
the
ups, man.
world as
Appreciate it, bro.
Vice President of the United States.
Hidden_lurker donated $5. Dale don't even got the attention span for this. Just following the trend like a typical
And they
NPC.
say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in
Okay,
this
it's back.
way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did
Frame should be
in fact
back.
lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and
I'm not
going into
asleep.
Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got
President.
14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm
President,
okay with it
Mr.
because
President, your time is
I think
up.
we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization,
choose to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Fuck.
The ABC News presidential debate will continue after this.
How much more this shit is going to be on? This shit came on at 6 o'clock. Got a 4-minute break. Fuck! I low-key took a nap in between this shit. You said she killing him? He got cooked? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think either one is cooking who, personally. I don't think there's a clear winner here.
Yo, random dude, big ups for the 10, man. Appreciate that shit, bro.
I mean, yeah, the abortion segment or whatever, but I mean, cause she's a woman, so it's gonna hit harder. I feel like there should be a law regarding backshot babies that benefit men. I mean, none of us are actually fucking these bitches to procreate, which is why birth rates are down. Birth rates are down in America because
this guy, like, there's points to where this dude
out of
really just needs to shut the fuck up, man.
Backshot baby that you got to pay for. Look at Tyrese.
Bro, you can't have any opinion at all when you got a 10-year-old daughter.
Backshot baby on Earth is worth $73,000.
You literally got a 10-year-old daughter you're not taking care of, bro.
So
like,
birth rates are gonna be down because men are terrified.
so why the fuck
to
are you
pregnant
talking about
bitches.
this?
Because it's the men that gotta pay for them. You feel me? Like, we're not backshotting a bitch, getting reverse cowgirled a bitch. You know what I'm saying? To have a backshot baby, we're fucking for recreational purposes. Trey Zorro, shut up for the 19 months.
Bro, Redguard, man, holy fucking shit. Big ups to you, bro. Appreciate it.
Redguard donated $44. I can see it inside her face. Damn, you're in the wrong place. Cowards like you just get their whole body laced up with bullet holes and such.
A man gets nothing.
Shout out to Mob Deep.
Getting pregnant. A man gets nothing for marrying a woman. We get nothing for it. All we get is sex. Woman gets, you know, favored in courts. Woman gets, you know, you make lots of money in life. You guys marry. She gets favored in courts. You guys have a backshot baby.
What's good,
she gets favored in courts. Like, what does a man get besides his dick sucked and sex on a regular basis? We get nothing.
Playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's.
What the fuck is Nick Crowley? Who is that?
We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president?
Jesus Christ, Rumble's going crazy. I'll be right back, guys.
Know he's alive. 5.
Your time is up. It was just to clarify the
This
question.
fool called Biden a
Do
zombie.
you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these.
Bro, why are they asking Trump these questions to like try to get him to set himself up?
Harris, I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as commander-in-chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important.
She gets all the
to
easy
remind
questions.
Former president, you're not.
And the
Play,
war
what's good, bro? How you
started
doing,
3
man?
days later.
Vice
And
President?
that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with presidents, includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families.
Why she keep throwing in small
What we can do
businesses?
around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now.
Start crying
Someone
or
who
what?
cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughing. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world, and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night.
And
imagine being so serious you just got a permanent frown on your forehead. You just got 2 creases right here because you just take your shit that fucking serious. Yeah. Bro, I'm more so shocked at this nigga's hairline. Like, bro, just let the shit go. This nigga really combs his shit from behind his ears. Like, it just get rid of it.
Welcome back to...
I've never seen somebody try to hold on to their hair this much.
NBC News coverage of the debate. Pick your adjective. I would go with fiery to begin, but go...
Damn, that shit way back there.
Goes from there. Both the candidates, you could argue...
Look like a black Biden.
Executing on their strategy going in for Kamala Harris, that was to get under the former president's skin, which she did quite often. For the former president, his option was, of course, to go after the economy, after Afghanistan, the administration's position on the withdrawal in Afghanistan, and immigration, of course. This is exactly...
Bro, come on. That's what I'm saying. Just shave the shit bald, bro. Bro, if your hairline is lining up with your ears, you just gotta let that shit go. Like, your hairline should not be starting at your ears or at the same... He old? That don't mean shit. My uncle, like, in his fucking 70s with a full head of hair. What race is he? Bro, he's clearly a biracial black man. Star Trek character, I see. If he didn't care, he wouldn't comb it backwards. What you mean? Of course he cares. He combs it backwards. Bro, in his position, I would have been got my hair restoration surgery. Fuck it. If I could rock this, I could rock hair restoration surgery.
Goofy xenomorph looking ass.
This motherfucker clearly got a serious bag. Bro, my hair would be right here. Damn, it would be right there at the top of my shit. If I was him, I would have came on TV with a hairline that looked like mine. That should have been boom. Imagine if my hairline started at my fucking ears. Like, bro, imagine how it'd be looking on stream. My hairline starts right here. Like, fuck. My shit. This is where my shit start. All this hair is gone, bro, and this shit started my ears. And I'm just still rocking the shape up. Like my shape up is way the fuck back here. You better thank a union member.